G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. Today's episode is the next installment of the Fortnightly Check-In series where we see firsthand right now in the moment how I am travelling. So this week has seen me return to doing some Black Dog presentations. In particular, I gave a webinar through the week to some very brave parents, all about navigating your teenager's mental health. That was the topic, and I think it went pretty well. The feedback was quite good. It's always a great honour doing these Black Dog presentations. If you want to hear all about that, feel free to listen to my episode, My Greatest Honour. But I think it went well. The whole time, of course, my inner critic was just nagging at me, just saying, Elliot, you're not getting those points across, you're not speaking clearly, you're not getting the job done. But thankfully, the feedback at the end was quite positive, which is always a little bit overwhelming, but it's great to see. And it's really great to put that inner critic back in its place. So if you are one of the people who were in the audience of this webinar who's listening to the podcast right now, can I just say a big welcome to the show and thank you for the support. It means the world to me. My original plan was to actually record this particular webinar and then post it here on the podcast. But unfortunately, again, my anxiety around doing a poor job, that inner critic, got the upper hand. But I promise soon, because I do talk about these Black Dog presentations a lot and they are brilliant. Well, the idea behind them is brilliant. Hopefully I do a good job. And one day I will upload it to the podcast and you can assess it for yourself. But remember, only positive feedback, please. All right, so let's get on to another of my favourite topics, which is medications. Now, you may remember last episode or the one before, I was talking about how my psychiatrist has put me on another SSRI. So we've sort of come full circle. I've done the SSRIs, I've done the SNRIs, I've done the NDRIs, we've done antipsychotics, we've done mood stabilizers, and I'm sure there's more there as well. But now we've come full circle back to the SSRIs. So previously I've been on Prozac and Lexapro with very little gain, and now I'm on Zoloft or Sertraline. So I'm about 3-4 days on it now, and well, the initial stages have not been kind as I expected. There's been some nausea, some dizzy feelings, which has happened every other time I've gone on SSRIs. And I might add, there's been a reduction in mood. SSRIs. I tell you what, they'd be good if they worked. Well, anyway, they'd be good if they worked for me. They seem to work for some other people, which is great, but I have not had a very good track record with them so far. But anyway, we're about 4 days into Sertraline. We'll see if that brings about any meaningful change. I was actually doing a bit of research on Zoloft, Sertraline, before this episode. The way it works, it appears the Sertraline is very good, supposedly, at fixing anxiety and then depression. So we're talking 3 to 4 weeks, and then you start to see the anxiety abates, which would be nice. And then another 6 to 8 weeks before the depressive symptoms start to resolve themselves. So it is very early days, 4 days. We're looking at least 4 weeks until we see what we're at or where we're at. And then another possible 4 weeks after that to see if my depressive symptoms start to recede a bit, which would be amazing. And I'll tell you what, if this doesn't work, I've got a backup plan in the form of LSD and psilocybin or magic mushrooms. So there's been a lot of research on hallucinogenics and what they can do for mental health. If you go back to another of my episodes, treatment-resistant disorders, I go into depth of how the government here in Australia at least is dragging their feet a little bit when it comes to hallucinogenics and the benefits that they can bring. But I am not going to wait around for the government to sort their shit out, you could say, because really, for some people, and at times for me too, this is a matter of life and death. I know that's very serious, I know. But seriously, that is what we're looking at here with a lot of individuals. And the research around hallucinogenics is so strong that you just can't ignore it, or at least I can't ignore it anyway. But I've got to be careful because if you're on SSRIs and then you use hallucinogenics, that can end very, very badly. But I am hoping, my wish is that sertraline will do the job and there'll be no need to look at going down the hallucinogenics path. And I might add, when I'm talking about hallucinogenics in light of mental health, the dosages that one uses for therapeutic benefit is a lot less than people would think of when they think of hallucinogenics. So a lot of research, the way it's administered is done in a way that is conducive to mental health outcomes and not necessarily recreational use. So I just want to make that point clear. What else has been happening? Well, since I started the SSRI, like I said, my mood has plummeted. So a week or two ago, I've started taking this new supplement. It's called Tomcat Alley. And the whole point of it was to boost my natural reserves of testosterone, which I believe are a bit low. Now, as you may be aware, I'm single, I know. Shock horror. How on earth is Elliot single? Well, there's an episode coming about that. But anyway, so I thought, right, we've got to be in the game. Let's try and maximize our testosterone. I'm going back to the gym. I'm trying to do the right things. What happened, though, was that my mood got elevated. All of a sudden, things weren't as bad anymore. There was a bit of clearing of the clouds and I could see a bit clearer. Was this the Tomcat Alley or is this the fabled placebo effect? Not sure, but I do know once I started the sertraline, even if it was a placebo effect, it disappeared quite quickly. So that's very disappointing. But anyway, you know me, I'm going to try bloody everything. So stay tuned because I think there's a bit more of this story yet to run. And it should be noted as well that it is normal, or at least very common, that when you first start an antidepressant that your mood may drop. And when I say it plummeted, it hasn't plummeted that much, but it definitely knocked off the edge of either the Tomcat Alley effect or the placebo, which is a bit of a shame. But that's all right. That's all right. We're in this for the long haul. We're playing the long game. So we will see in the next couple of weeks how we go. Another thing I've decided over the last fortnight is that, or at least I've discovered, is that I am not doing what I set out to do in the episode New Year, New Me. Yes, I am doing a lot of promotion of the episodes that have gone by, but I'll tell you what, they're really, really good. So go listen to them, please. Remember, every download of this podcast is a shot of dopamine for me. So you're doing it for me. Anyway, in that episode, I did say that I wanted to do more living. Instead of just working all the time, whether it be studying or employment, I wanted to actually do some enjoyable things in life again. And so far, I've done none of that. I have not achieved that goal at all. But very soon, I've decided I'm going camping. Even if I have to go on my own, I will. So there's a good book called Lost Connections by Johan Hari, and it is all about, well, there's a few reasons why I like this book. One of them is because it rubbishes antidepressants, but also because it really promotes this idea of connecting with other people and connecting with the world, nature. So I'm going to go back to nature. I'm going to go camping. So hopefully soon I'll be doing an episode from the bush somewhere in Western New South Wales or somewhere else in Australia, and I'll be at peace with the world. So that's coming up. Get excited for me to finally go on a bit of a holiday. Anyway, I think that's it for the check-in. I think that's all I have to report. So yes, I will keep you posted on how the sertraline goes. Hopefully soon I'll get a Black Dog presentation uploaded as well. And hopefully I'll be going on holidays and I can report all about that and all the great benefits for my mental health that brings. All right, that's it. Bit of a short one today. It's a bit late here in Newcastle as I'm recording, and the olanzapine quetiapine double is about to allow me to drift off to sleep, so I better sign off before I start dribbling everywhere. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Remember, if you are enjoying it, please like, subscribe, and share it around with your mates. And until next time, I'm Elliot Waters. See you then.